Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of What's Next with We, wherein we discuss about a particular industry and figure out what's next in that particular space. This episode is part of the innovation series, and today we have a really special guest, and it's actually truly an honor to have him on this podcast. So please welcome Mr. Sudhanshu Mani. His experience and achievements speak volumes, and I was very keen to have him on this podcast. Mr. Sudhanshu, welcome you here to this podcast. Thanks for accepting my request.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Great. A quick overview about his experience. Not sure whether I'll do justice, but I'll just give it a shot. So, as you guys must have already known, Mr. Sudhanshu, he's retired as general manager in ICF Chennai after serving at the Indian Railways for over 38 years. He's also served as railway advisor in the Embassy of India in Berlin for 3 years. He's a fellow of Institute of Mechanical Engineers, London. And I think one of his major achievements has been the Train 18, the Vande Bharat Express project, the first ever indigenous semi-high-speed train project from India in flat 18 months. So that's pretty incredible. And obviously, we'll get to know more about it through this podcast. And his journey has been obviously compiled in a bestseller book called My Train Story. I think we can discuss that as well in this podcast. Mr. Sudhanshu, once again, welcome to What's Next with We.
Pleasure.
Great. Jumping right in, right? I think the listeners would definitely like to know your experience as a railwayman through past 38 odd years. And plus, I think you're still continuing to work with the government as a consultant. So it would be great if you could start with your experience, an overview of your experience.
Okay. So Indian Railways is one of a limited number of organizations of the country which have so much romance associated with it. It has a legacy, a history of 170 years. You would remember as a child the beeline you made for the window seat, and as you sat at the window, the marvel, the magic of India passed you by. All the indolence, the sloth, the grind, the labor, the celebration, the mourning, desolate here, crowded there, whatnot. I am reminded of a line spoken by Antonio in Tempest by the bard, that travelers never did lie, though fools back home at home condemn them. If somebody is not taken in by the fantastical views that you get from Indian Railways, then perhaps that person is a prisoner of his own contradictions and conflicts. So, because of this romance, and there are other pleasures associated with Indian Railways, like the platform of a Indian Railways station is a great leveler. Even today, the richest to the poorest stand next to each other to catch a train. You peep behind the door, an open door that we used to have, not mechanized, and look at a snaking train behind you, and that gives you goosebumps. So that's the kind of organization I worked for all my life. And even after retirement, I'm closely associated, not directly with railways, but people who love railways, rail enthusiasts, rail fans, companies which work for railways as a consultant, and so on. So as they say, once a railwayman, always a railway.
Yeah, that's awesome, Sudhanshu. I mean, yeah, as you said, I think, I've had amazing train journeys before. And back in 2012, I was part of this program called Jagriti Yatra. It's a yearly event where kind of we transverse the entire country, the boundaries of the India, in a train, like 500 all yatris in a train. So I can vouch for that, like from the platforms to the long winding journeys across the Western Ghats, and amazing architecture environment that you actually experience right throughout the entire journey. So I can definitely vouch for that. To all the listeners, just wanted to give you once again the flow of today's podcast. We just obviously wanted to touch upon the experience of Sudhanshu, and then slowly going on to his I mean, main highlight being the Train 18 experience, the Vande Bharat Express as we know it, followed by the technology and innovation that has happened in the railways over the past 170 years, and how maybe startups in India, obviously now they've gathered a lot of pace in the country. How can they collaborate with the railways? And finally, kind of giving a message to young India, and then kind of finally getting final thoughts from Sudhanshu on what's next for the railways for the next maybe 10, 15, 20 odd years. So I think we just got a flavor of his experience. I think following on, Sudhanshu, I think the listeners would definitely would like to know about your Train 18 experience, Vande Bharat. I've traveled in that from Jammu Tawi to Delhi. It's an amazing experience. I think a big upgrade from the older trains. So would be great to get your view on from the concept to the delivery in flat 18 months. I think that's incredible. I don't think the world has seen that, and would be great to hear your thoughts there.
So I'll keep the Train 18 story short. Actually, the story is quite exhaustive, and that's why I wrote the book. But what's a train set? A train set, unlike a regular train with coaches and locomotives, is a set of permanently attached coaches with only two cabs at both the ends and all the equipment mounted under the floor, so that all the space above the board is available for passengers and passenger amenities. This is the concept which is in most of the advanced countries, which is in vogue for 25, 30 years. And we have been talking about it since 90s. Now, it never took shape because there were, departmental conflicts of who will own the train, whether the coach fellow or the loco fellow and so on. I'll not get into that. When I asked for and got posted as the general manager of Integral Coach Factory, I knew that this is most likely going to be my last assignment before superannuation. And I had this, you can call it a dream, and also with dream, some kind of a vision as to how Indian engineers can actually deliver train from the concept to engineering, design, and then manufacture validation. When I landed in ICF, I found the staff and officers there, which were bequeathed to me, not by doing, were bubbling with energy to do something new, only that energy had to be channelized. And so I got so many allies. And then we started talking about doing this train. We went to board. It's a long story. You mean railway board, how we got the sanction and so on. I'll not get into that. When we finally got the sanction in April of 2018, 2017, we still had 21 months before I retired to deliver the train. We did want to deliver it, I'm saying we, not me, before I retired, because this was something we were purchasing. This was something we were breaking out of more of the same to make a new train. There were every chance that the train would fail, not succeed in first attempt. And therefore, it was necessary that the project not be given up halfway and I be there as the leader to see it through. So that's how the journey started, and there was so much excitement and the support I got from the team. 2-3 things initially, which I had to tell them was, usually our doubts are, again, I'm quoting the Bard, our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. The key of the project was to attempt, make your own design, not look up for any transfer of technology, good or bad. Let it be something which Integral Coach Factory and Indian Railways will fully own the IPR. And that ownership is what brings pride. And that pride is what drives people to excel themselves. And that's what actually happened. I must compliment my team once again for having delivered it, because going over those 18 months as to what all glitches and hitches that came our way will not serve any purpose. It was synergy all the way. And finally, when we were able to deliver the train in October of 2018, it had taken exactly 18 months. We had already named the Train 18, because we wanted everyone to know that the train would be out of the ICF gates in the calendar year 2018 itself. It kind of lived up to its name once again, of getting completed in 18 months. And that doubled our joy. But what was really surprising for us was we thought we were just building a train and we may get some kudos from railwaymen and so on. But because everyone knew that this was something which is entirely by Indians in India, the from railwaymen as well as non-railwaymen, rail fans, rail enthusiasts, and public at large, we got so much love and appreciation that it kind of overwhelmed us. And then only we realized that the team had delivered something which was not easy to begin with in terms of the product as well as in terms of the time taken to do it. That kind of summarizes the Train 18 story. And I feel happy every time I have to relive it.
Yeah, amazing, Sudhanshu. I mean, I can feel it when you just mentioned the ups and downs. I can imagine, like, since the government project, I'm sure you'll have a lot of stakeholders to manage and satisfy at different stages in the journey. I'm sure the ups would be awesome, but I think the downs, you get to learn a lot, right, from those downs. I think many of the government projects have in the past 10, 15 years have succeeded, right? I think from your Aadhaar project to your demonetization, where you have the fintech revolution happening. I think now you're seeing a lot of government sectors innovating at a really fast speed and kind of giving us world-class experience right in India. So I've traveled, as I told, right, I've traveled in the Train 18, Vande Bharat Express. It just feels so different, and it feels that you're kind of in Europe, traveling in Europe. So I hope there could be more innovation in that space. I think we definitely need those kind of experience right in India because we have the talent, right? So Sudhanshu, just a follow-up question to that. Would there be a Train 19 or Train 20? I think now it's a bit late. Would there be a Train 22, 23? Like, would that be happening
All
soon
right.
or?
Okay, so what we had planned was Train 18 was going to be a stainless steel version of a modern train set. Trend today, especially in higher speed range, not in this 160 kilometer per hour range, but trend today is to go for aluminum body train sets. Now, these are more energy efficient, being lighter. They're even more durable and aesthetically superior. So we thought, let us also parallelly go for a train set project, which would, if we worked really hard, would be able to be delivered in 2020. And we called it Train 20. The idea was to, since aluminum fabrication and profiling, profiles, extruded profile, that kind of expertise did not exist in the country. We had to go and collaborate with somebody abroad, with the caveat that all design work and manufacturing work would be done with ICF staff, not like other TOT projects, so that they become totally conversant with know why and know how. And after this contract, we are able to design our own aluminum trains. That project somehow hit a roadblock. I will not get into that, but there were certain vested interests who also came in way. It's still not taken off, but good news is that this minister is very keen that we go for aluminum trains also, and I would hope that a similar project would be taken up. On everything is ready in ICF to go for this contract. If we do it now and work really hard, I think it cannot be done in 18 months because we were working like mad people. Systematic working along with the collaborator. I think the train can actually be delivered in 2025. So let's call it Train 25 if they start working now. The sleeper version was also something we had taken on our drawing board, but subsequently, for reasons not known to me, this was stopped. And we had at that time hoped that the sleeper version of Train 18 would be out of ICF in 2019, because there only the furnishing had to be changed. All electricals and most of the mechanicals would remain same. That did not happen, but we had called it Train 19. So if they start working on it now and turn out a Rajdhani equivalent of Train 18 to cut down time between, say, Delhi, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, to my mind, it's possible to cut it down by 3 to 4 hours and make it truly overnight. So that train can be out in next year, the prototype, and then subsequent legion. So we can call it Train 23. So that perhaps answers your questions about future models of Train 18 and its equivalent, its sisters.
Got it. Thanks. I think that gives a good overview and I think looks bright for the Indian Railways. Just following up with that, right? I think you had mentioned technology transfer, and when there is a request for creating a new train from scratch, there's obviously a lot of technology transfer required. Obviously, we would be focusing it on manufacturing it in India. So if you could just touch upon the technology and innovation that has happened, maybe obviously not since history, but in the maybe past few decades, and how could startups in India collaborate, and is there an opportunity for startups in India to collaborate with the Indian Railways?
Okay, so what's an innovation? Innovation is any idea for a product, a process, a service, which develops into a concept and then is tried out in the market to see if there is a value in the product or service. And once you do that, the processes, the materials, the men, the procurement systems and everything, including special machinery and so on to deliver that product or service, that becomes technology. So two things. To begin with, there's no dearth of innovating Indians, but there is a dearth of products that come out of it. You, in any sector, if you see, we have innovating Indians. They are perhaps innovating for foreign companies. There are hardly many Indian products to write home about. So keep that apart. What is technology? I just told you what's technology. It is a creation. It's created by people who have an idea, they innovate and bring together a complete system, which is technology. Now, you cannot transfer this. You can transfer certain drawings, you can transfer instructions, you can teach people, you can even take them some, simply hands-on exercise and so on. But many parts of technology live in the mind and the heart of the creators. Technology cannot be transferred to the level to make you own it, to make it really know it. That's why we have been importing technology all these 70 years. Every rolling stock that we have, the design has come from abroad. But we are still not able to make it to the perfection that the suppliers had given it to us. So that's a tragedy with transfer of technology. I would strongly feel that India, being a large country, should keep on developing its own technology. Let it be bad to begin with, but it's a stepping stone to better designs in future. Unless we do that, we will keep on importing technology every 15, 20 years. Now, at the same time, there is one more important issue which we tend to neglect, and that is, in the play As You Like It by Shakespeare, Touchstone says, the fool doth think he's wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool. So it is better to be a witty fool than a foolish wit, which means we should not think that we'll be able to do everything. We have a lot to learn. So that's why limit it to the technology areas where you can create a technology with 10-20% extra effort and commitment. But areas where you are still nowhere near it, like high-speed train, it's coming from Japan. We should not arrogate to ourselves the foolish notion that we can design it ourselves and so on. No, not at all. You have to learn. What's not happening is when this technology is coming to India, I don't think we are going through a process of learning, which should have been a part of the contract. So next time we need another train, we are still going to somebody for technology. That's the tragic part of this business. So I would strongly recommend in all sectors, I have experience of railway sector, but I'm sure it applies to every sector, is wherever you're almost there or near a certain level of expertise, excel, commit yourself to excel yourself, and you'll reach there. If not first time, not second time, at least third time. But we don't do that. We look for crutches. We look for people to hold your hand, and that's why we are never a developer of product. We say we are going to copy China, Japan. Look at Japan started this way, but look at where they are now. They are a creator of products and processes and technology. Even China today started this way. This is the flex point for us to really go into the spirit of Atmanirbhar, and the government should support because they are a spender. Take failures in your stride, but make your own products. Make your own all India products. Unless you do that, you will remain an importer of technology.
A valid point. I think some amazing points. I think what you mentioned on India creating its own technology stack, right? I think in few sectors we have done it pretty okay, where we are in a position to export it. I think many areas were yet to build it, and I think as you said, we can create a not so perfect version in India and then keep obviously improving it rather than not having it at all. So I think a clear message to startups out there, right? I think go deep, be an expert in that, fail fast, learn fast, and then keep going at in depths into that technology that you're building and create it in India and for the world. So I think that's the message loud and clear. So I think that's really valid. And as you said, right, transfer of technology may happen in papers and design, but truly the transfer of technology will never happen in this truest sense. So a best way forward for India would be creating its own tech stack, which I think we're seeing in the telecom. I've been reading in the telecom space that 5G, that India has kind of built its own technology stack. So I think few areas we have done pretty well. I think we should continue that across other sectors is my view. Great. I think that's a great message, Sudhanshu. I think following up, I think couple of or maybe two or three thoughts on young India. I think you touched upon uh, that they should go into depth, they should go into the depths of technology and create products for India. Maybe some other couple of more messages for young India would be awesome.
Well, yeah. So I will first break one platitude and then repeat a platitude. So first platitude is everyone is told that you must live your dream. But in real world, living your dream alone is not going to get your bread and butter.
True.
My message would only be, yeah, there's a couplet which says, ख्वाब होते हैं देखने के लिए पर उनमें जाके रहा न करो. What it means is, do dream, let it linger. Don't let it die. The dream that you have should not become your life, but given that this dream is lingering somewhere, then there will be a time, an opportunity when it will be given to you to realize that dream. As the uh, President Kalam had said, that dreams are not something which you see while sleeping. The dreams are something which don't let you sleep. Once you get the opportunity, that's the time to realize your dream. And that's when you must give all you have to realize that. And how do you do that? The second, which is a platitude, but I must repeat it, is again a couplet is इस लफ्ज़ से मोहब्बत का अदना ये फसाना है सिमटे तो दिले आशिक फैले तो जमाना है. Meaning, love is a key to everything. And when I say love, I mean love what you do, love the people you work with, love your organization. Because human resources are most important, irrespective of all AI or wherewithal and so
True.
on.
Very true.
Once you love what you do, it will, even if you fail, you will retain your pride of having done something. So my message to young India, don't live your dream, let it linger, let it not be extinguished. Keep loving what you do. And when you start something, which is your dream, give it everything you have, because what awaits you, irrespective of success or failure, is great pride, which will make your life worth living. So that's the biggest prize of your hard work, is the pride, the ownership that you will have given to yourself in respect of your creation.
Sanju, thanks a lot. I know you're a motivational speaker. I think you speak at multiple events. I think you should keep speaking apart from your consulting work. I think this actually inspires the country. I think we are going through a transformational change as well, right? Nowadays, you are seeing students post college starting their own startups. It never used to happen 10, 15 years back. So I think now we see a lot more examples where students are living their dreams and actually kind of creating it. And I think, as you said, right, that dream should linger on. I think once that happens, the world conspires actually with you to achieve those dreams, right? I think that's a critical key. I hope you keep continuing inspiring the younger generation, right? I think um, with your experience and your achievements, definitely inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs and next generation of innovators. Cool. I think maybe last final thought, Sudhanshu, before we kind of wind up, is obviously the theme of this podcast on what's next. I think Indians, when they say Indian Railways, it obviously gives them goosebumps and gives them memories that last long time, right? So, what can we expect from the railways in the next maybe 5, 10, maybe or 20 odd years from now? I'm sure the semi high speed train projects is going on. And I think the high speed as well, the Japanese bullet train that's going to happen. Apart from that, what could be other things to look forward?
Yeah, good question. So I'm not going to say what is expected. I'm going to say what I would expect as a railwayman for life. First thing is, if India has pretensions to be some kind of a world power or a developed country in 15 years, you must look at your common travelers first. The way your common travelers travel today, at times packed like sardines, hanging from doors, is not something that you're going to. I'm not talking about high speed and semi-high speed. All that comes later. So what are you going to do for these common men? You say they don't pay, they pay very little. So does it mean that a country of our size, because these people cannot pay more, will be carried like cattle? That's the first thing. Evolve a solution. It can first make sure that India in 2035 will carry all its passengers with dignity, and then find ways how to do it. I'm not getting into ye kya, wo kya, kaise. Make this resolution, solutions would be possible. Carry everyone in air-conditioned coaches. Everyone. Stop making non-air conditioned coaches. It's possible the AC3, the AC chair car are remunerative. Put more seats in them. I have my mental designs. But make firm resolution that all Indian Railways travelers would be taken in some kind of comfort, if not great comfort, and with dignity. That's number one, it should happen. And then comes other things. Yes, I would like to see at least I should 2035 means at least two more in addition to these two, this Mumbai Ahmedabad high speed projects, which are separate projects. I would like at least 3 to 4 high speed projects by that time. It will take some doing. Look at what has happened to Mumbai Ahmedabad. It's delayed by 5-7 years. I would like to see a lot of RRTS project, but not necessarily in standard gauge. RRTS 160 to 200 kilometers intercity connecting, perhaps on Indian Railways with Indian designed rolling stock, not what's happening, where you are folding your hands to some multinational and something is being purchased at I don't know, maybe twice the price. And then uh, make sure that you do away with your ICF type coaches, which have served the nation well, but they have proved to be a little weak at the time of accident, killing some people. The number is much smaller now. I must compliment the railways for what they have done in this respect, but make it zero. Make zero accident your target. These are the things which I would expect to happen. And there are so many other things related to the image of railways, like, and I have done these things, so I know, is like porters carrying head load on platform. Do you see it in any developed country? Give them carts. We did it in Bangalore. It succeeded. It was discontinued. Do you see hand carts being pushed by 2 or 3 people shouting people to move away from their path of movement? Do you
Yes.
see it anywhere? Why can't you simply have battery operated trucks with their signal and alarm and so on? It was done in Secunderabad and Bangalore. It's all possible. I need to see Indian Railways come out as a modern, empathetic organization which caters to all classes of travelers, and to high-end travelers provides a more comfortable, less time-taking journey and compete with road and air.
Awesome. I think quite a big wish list for the Indian Railways, but I think all valid points, right? I think from you've touched upon, I mean, comfort for passengers, that's the main thing, right? End of the day, that's the most important. And followed by the high-speed train projects. I think once the Mumbai Ahmedabad gets ready, I'm sure hopefully the others would come faster than the Mumbai Ahmedabad. And zero accidents. I think that you mentioned a very valid point. I think technology can play a big role in that, is what I feel. Um, and you had also mentioned the porters that are there, comfort for them. That's actually an interesting point. With electric vehicles now pretty affordable, I think Indian Railways could look at procuring few uh, carts. I mean, battery operated carts, which are pretty powerful and pretty cost effective now. I think finally, you had mentioned modern and empathetic. I think the empathy is there in Indian Railways. Whenever I travel, I feel the warmth there in the passengers and the shops that I see on the platforms. I think, yeah, modern is a place where I think we should definitely work on building our own indigenous technology, as you mentioned. So, your final thoughts before we wind up? I think we had a really fun, engaging chat. I hope listeners out there would really feel about the Indian Railways much better. Final thoughts, Sudhanshu?
I've pretty much spoken what I wanted to, but since you bring it up, to uh, all the countrymen, I would say that 1,000, a million projects like Train 18 are possible in the country. They are blooming. All it needs is leadership with empathy and sense of purpose, commitment, will to do, and it can happen. And I hope it happens. Thank you.
Amazing. On that note, Sudhanshu, that is a brilliant message to end the podcast. Thank you once again for taking out time. This has
My
been
pleasure.
absolute amazing, amazing chatting with you. Thank you.
My pleasure.